because I definitely don't want to do it again because I have done it before. And apologies, everybody. Apologies. Right, Penny kindly sent me a message saying, Wendy, you've got the wrong date and the wrong time. So well done for turning up on the right date at the right time. I had so much marketing collateral out there that it was like, oh my God, I can't change everything. I'm just going to do my emails and pray that everybody actually, everybody turns up. So let me share my screen with you. There's something that I just want to get first, because I know a number of you have been waiting for this information. So what I don't want you to have to do is hang on to the end. Oh, why can I not? Oh, this thing. Let me just get this out of the way. Yeah, what I don't want you to do is hang on until the end to find out actually how you can create your own book agent. So, oh, well, that's not very helpful, is it? This is the email I've just sent to everybody. Oh, what I wanted to do in an ideal world was give you the link of, why can I not escape now? I just wanted to pick this link up and give it to you because this is the details of the book agent. I'll go in a little bit later on as to why I don't actually teach this. And that is because it's actually very complicated. I'll go into more detail a little bit later on, but I don't actually teach people how to create a book agent because it's complicated. Especially if you are creating books around, if you've got a combination of a personal story and then you've got exercises, there's a framework that needs to be built around that. But I'll go into it a bit more later on. So welcome to Books That Lead Conversations, how to build an AI agentic agent that guides, converts, and connects. So as I said, I've dropped the link into the sales page because I know a number of you might not necessarily want to hang around to the end. I'm not going to do a big sales pitch at the end of this. You've got the link, you've got the details, you can have a browse over it while I am talking. If you've got any questions, you can either reach out or ask them at the end of the presentation. But I've been teaching AI for about 3.5 years. And I have a whole Empower AI ecosystem. So I have a community of entrepreneurs, founders who use the agents that we have created or I've created that they can use. I also create custom agents for clients as well. That means turning their IP into an agentic AI agent. And I'll tell you the differences between a bot and an agentic AI agent. They're quite significantly different a little bit later on. And the new member to the community or to my little ecosystem is the AI Book Companion agent, which is really, really exciting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, rather than just talk through slides, it's going to be slides at the beginning. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you how a book agent works and you'll be able to see the difference between a normal bot GPT and actually something that is agentic and that is built around conversation rather than containment. So lots of people have dabbled. So when I talk about agents, what I'm talking about is GPTs with inside of ChatGPT. This is the best framework, I think, for creating agents. There are lots of benefits to using ChatGPT this way that other platforms just do not have, which I will go into a little bit later on. But generally, what people do is they dabble with AI, they use prompts, they're using ChatGPT, they're not getting consistent output. It becomes a bit of a nightmare. They just waste a lot of time and spend a lot of time prompting. It's not the best way to use ChatGPT, that's for sure. It's too laborious. The outcome isn't always good. You're always fiddling with it. So the next stage on from that, which is where the space of a lot of people are now moving into, coaches, consultants, and therapists, are thinking about how can they scale their IP? How can they provide access to AI that supports their clients. So a lot of people now are turning their intellectual property into an agent. So, you know, I work with clients that have a process, have a theory, have a structure that they take their clients through. We turn that into an agent, and then their clients use that to maybe go through a course to support them during programs that they're running. And then the new kid on the block is the AI book companion. And I actually think that as AI develops, I think every book will have an AI book companion. And there's lots and lots of reasons to that, which I will go into. But ultimately, what that means for authors is that your book doesn't just get read. It's like a living, not breathing. It's like a living experience. It's like a living connection that you have with the readers. So what's going to start happening is it stops losing readers halfway. They stay engaged because it's not just about reading the book. It's about turning to the AI book companion and asking questions and setting whatever they're learning, whatever they're reading into their own context so they can understand what it is that they're reading. So you know what it's like. I'm sure I'm not a big reader. I have written books, but I'm one of these people that if I get stuck on something and I can't figure it out, it sort of fluffs everything up for me. Whereas an AI book companion, I could just turn to it and I could say, I'm struggling with this. I don't quite understand it. Can you help me figure it out? And what you can do is you can have a conversation with the book. It will help you to figure out what the author has written and what it is that you are struggling with. The other thing, once you've created your agent, is that your marketing becomes super connected. It's super easy to create because it's not guessing. It's got all the context from the book that it can use to market the book as well. I mean, that's just a side note, really. But the marketing, once you've done this process, is just limitless. It's just, you know, you will never have to worry about marketing your book ever again in written word, in format, you know, for sharing online, even doing presentations like this. So who is the book companion agent for? Well, my expertise is within helping authors who have a personal story and have exercises. So the two things support one another and come together. So it's really about authors who have lived experience and expertise. And that's really, really important to me. I'm not interested in, you know, books where there's not some level of personal development and transformation. This is my niche. This is my area of expertise. And ultimately, what you're allowing your readers to do is to be able to not just have your book sit on the bookshelf, but also be able to interact with it in real time, which is quite incredible. The potential for the ongoing learning is, I can't even actually put it into words. It's significant because one of the things I'm going to show you later on is how agents talk to one another, which means that once someone has, I'm going to shut up before I get to that bit. Scrub that. I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm getting excited. So I am an Amazon 3 times Amazon #1 bestselling author. This was the first book I wrote. It's the one that I'm the most proud of. Be More Wolf, the survivor's story, breaking the trauma cycle. So I've been there too. I know exactly what it's like. I know the challenge of writing a book and then, you know, trying to sell it ongoing, and then also the level of people that actually follow through and take action from actually reading the book is well, for me has been tiny. So I know
Well,
what
just listen to the seminar. Can you just print it the
I know what
pages and I'll write and then I'll come and type.
Hang on. I think I got the right person. I think he sounded South African. I think that was Paul. Where was I? Yeah, so I know what the challenges are like. So the first agent I created was based off my own book, and I was just absolutely stunned by how good it was and how I could use it and how it was still helping me as the person who wrote the book to heal and continuously heal, because I can pull it into other conversations. So Bernie has created an AI agentic book companion agent. She uses it with her clients. So Bernie, the way Bernie is using it is that she has sold her book for a higher price and they get access to the agent at the same time. So they get the agent and the book together. So she has launched her book that way. It's a new book that has come out. So it's slightly different to how some people would do it because it's new. But people absolutely, her clients absolutely rave about it. She loves the fact that she can give them, it's like stopgap's the wrong word. But they can read a chapter and then they can have a conversation, or they can read something and then they can have a conversation. And she just loves the idea of that. Sarah's is also a new book as well. So you can see that these books are highly sensitive. They have highly sensitive material in them, the same as my book. So they need a framework, a framework that contains the book, so they're used ethically, wisely, carefully. The agent needs to be created very carefully. You can't just throw your book into ChatGPT and think that's it. It'll give crap output, but also you're leaving yourself at risk, and more importantly, you're leaving the readers at risk. But one of the things Sarah wanted within her book was it to have a very clear call to action, which would take people to her quiz. So that would increase the leads that she was getting, which is really, really great. Alan loves Stuck No More. So Alan uses his in a program. So I'll talk about the 3 different ways that you can monetize the agents later on, but he's using it within a program with his clients. And again, one of his calls to action was in chapter 16, helping them. So what will happen is when they're talking to the agent, if the agent thinks it's a good time to interrupt and say, this is the next step that you can take, it gives people the opportunity to connect with Alan if they want to, which is really, really cool. So why most books don't create change? We all know this. We all know this from our own books, from marketing our own books, and especially if it's your first book. If you're a new time author, it can be a real challenge, because you know what it's like. You get so excited, you write the book, and then you don't realize actually writing the book, it's a bit like a website. You write the book and then there's all this work that you've got to do off the back end of it to sell it. We get so excited by creating a book that we don't realize that actually there's a ton of work that's got to actually go into selling a book. The marketing is got to be consistent, so you have to have the volume of people to actually follow through and reach out. Whereas an agent sort of cuts that down significantly because it's a different way for them to engage. Mm-hmm. We all know low reader engagement and follow through. So, readers will stop short, life gets busy, they put the book down, they go to another book, they don't necessarily follow through, they don't finish it, sometimes they get stuck. And then what happens is the impact of the book is lost. And the type of books that my clients write, they're heavy. They're not light reads. It's heavy personal development that will create resistance. So just imagine if you've got someone who's reading a book, they're feeling a little bit resistance, they're putting it down, they're not really doing anything with it, they're not reaching out to you, the conversation isn't taken any further, the learning isn't taken any further. An AI agent gives you the perfect opportunity for them to check it out, have a conversation, see what else the book can tell them, rather than just reading it. It's a very, very different experience. And this one just falls into the other one. The book isn't converting readers into client because there's not a strong enough lead generation conversation thread throughout the book. Now, when you're doing personal development books, you don't want to endlessly be seeding in book a call. You don't, because you're engrossed in the story. You want to give the person value. So again, you may not necessarily be doing yourself any favors, but a book agent, again, bridges that gap, I think. Scaling personal presence without burnout. This is a big one. Overwhelmed, trying to support every reader. So scaling a business can be tricky. It can be difficult. It can be a challenge. There's a lot that goes into it. So what an AI agent can do is it can remove some of the heavy lifting. It can take it off your hands, but don't be frightened by that. Don't think, oh, well, if that happens, they're not going to want to come and talk to me. What my clients are seeing is that the people that are coming back to them with deeper issues. They've gone over the surface level stuff. They've managed to get past that stuff. So they're much deeper into the book, into the process, into the conversation. So it's a different level of engagement. So that's, I think scaling is actually, the agent being able to do the heavy lifting is quite important. So this is a big one for me. I've put the word in there at the beginning of the end, but I can't actually say it. Whoever thought this was a great word for someone who's got dyslexia it's just a nightmare. But reading books can be a real challenge. And I don't actually even like listening to audiobooks. I don't know, maybe I'm just a bit too impatient. So an agent is great because I can have a conversation with the agent and then I can get it to read it back. And I just can, if I don't know, I can just keep asking questions. You know, if the book is complicated, I can say, give me an answer to like I'm a 3-year-old. You know, explain it in basic terms. So it makes the book way more inclusive for readers. Very, very different experience. Trust building beyond the book. Because they've got the agent, they've got that companion consistently there. I think this is a big difference. You wouldn't necessarily, someone wouldn't pick up my book and think about taking it to work with them and going into the book and like trying to figure something out. Whereas with an agent, it's on your phone. If you're struggling with something and you've got a book that's based on that subject, you can go into the agent and you can say, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me? What does the book say? And you can start a conversation with the book. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. It's mind-boggling. It really, really is. Missing monetization and upsell opportunities, one and done book sales with no further revenue. Whereas if you give the agent that's holding the knowledge of the book, the agent doesn't replace the book. It's a companion to the book. The two things sit together. However, the book companion, you can create buttons where it says book a conversation, book a call with Wendy. So it has the ability to have a much stronger call to action, and plus you can thread it into how you set up your book agents. So what is a book companion agent? Now, I'm talking ChatGPT here. I'm not talking any other platform. And I talk ChatGPT because it has something that none of the other platforms have, which I'll go into a little bit later on. So there's 3 categories of inside ChatGPT. And the main function for creating agents is called GPT, that it's known as a GPT. And people create them either as a bot, it follows scripts, it has preset rules. Think of it like customer service. It has a framework it works within. You'll ask it a question, it will search the database, and then it will come and give you an answer. It's very low level, doesn't really think for itself other than following an instruction. So a GPT is where most people are at. Think of a GPT as a task, carrying out a task. So it's the same tool that you use to create the bot with, but it's just doing it's just a different way that you use it. So let me just think of something that I can pull out of thin air. So let's just say you wanted to turn your customer testimonials into stories, discover the pain points. You can create a GPT that you can just dump the testimonials into, and then it will do that process for you. So it's a task. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. Another example would be something like, write a newsletter for me. That's a task. It's got a very clear beginning, a middle, and an end. And the output is, it's created around a format, headings, bullet points, insights, however you decide to create it. But it's a task. It doesn't, again, it's not really thinking for itself. When you create an agentic AI, which is my speciality, and there's not many people in this field from what I've seen online, people are still referring to AI as bots, tools. I think when you refer to AI as a bot and a tool, you're really missing the gold dust of what it is capable of doing. So agentic AI is where you can actually have a conversation with the AI based around a subject, and it will continue to ask you questions, give you recommendations. It's a very, very different experience. It has the capacity to mirror the people it is that are having it depends how you set it up, but it has the capacity to mirror the people, what it is that they experience in context with your IP, the book, or the program it is that you've created. So you have a two-way conversation, basically. You have a two-way conversation. It thinks for itself based on the questions and the patterns that are playing out within the language, which makes it super, super intelligent. It has more of it's contained within the book, but it has more of a free reign. It has more of it's more valuable. It's far, far more valuable than a bot or a generalized GPT. Very, very different. So fatal errors when you are creating any agent, but specifically a book companion. One is, as I said, treating it like a chatbot. It's far more intelligent than that. The other thing is a lot of people ignore their voice. So it doesn't actually, so while it will read the book and produce dialogue, it may not necessarily be in the context of the voice of the author. So that's quite important. And people miss that out. Whatever you do not, under any circumstances, just dump your whole book into ChatGPT. That's not the way to do it. You can't just create a GPT, dump your book in it, and say, create me a book companion agent. There's lots of reasons why you shouldn't do that, but I really recommend that you don't do that. And a big thing that we're going to go into in a second is skipping emotional safety. Now, anyone who knows me knows I live and breathe AI. I have created over 50 agents that my clients use. I create agents for other clients around their IP so they can use it with their clients and monetize AI. Within my journey of using AI, I know the pitfalls of if you skip this, if you don't bring in an element of creating an emotionally safe agent of any description, whether that's a book companion agent or whether that is just even a CEO. If you are giving them out to the public, going to get yourself into trouble. So I have a model that I have developed when I create any of my agents, and it comprises of these 5 elements. When I create an agent, I have like 22 steps that I go through to create it, hence the reason why I don't I don't teach it because it's complicated. It's really complicated, and it shifts and it changes, and you need to know how to adapt to the shifts and the changes with inside AI and the way it's being used. Safe Story is unique to my methodology. And that has been created because I learned very early on, if you don't create safe filters when you're creating book agents, people are going to be more likely to, what's the word? Not self-combust. That's not the word, Wendy. It's, they're going to be more likely to go down a rabbit hole. And then they're going to get a little bit lost. That leaves them vulnerable. Leaves you vulnerable. So you've got to cut that out as much as possible. So Safe Story filter is unique to what I have created. But other things, copyright integrity, trauma sensitivity, bias awareness, these are all things that are built into support mode, which is the flow of, okay, I'm getting that, it's a bit complicated. But when you create, you need to think about these moving parts to create ethical safety for your user and for yourself, your business. Otherwise, you're good. Later down the line, someone's going to come back and said, I've done this, your agent's told me to do this. And yeah, you won't have a leg to stand on. So trust leads in sales without losing your voice. So you can build trust because of that conversation with the agent, because of the conversation it's having with the book. People are going to be more likely to trust you. And I actually think that is one of the biggest things that we have to, as practitioners, as experts, it's moving forward, or even now, it is definitely, trust is one of the highest. When people are buying stuff now, they want to know that you're trustworthy. They want to know that you are credible. I took on a new corporate client a couple of weeks ago, and she said, the only reason why I'm working with you is because I trust you. Yeah. Create ethical pathways, yeah, which we have touched on. So I was talking about call to actions within agents. One of the ways that you can do it is that when you create an agent, you have conversation starters. Now, a lot of people just use conversation starters to start the conversation. However, you can actually use them for a lot of other things. People miss this out, but you can have one that says book a call with Wendy Kier, the founder. They click this link and it takes them through to my calendar so they can book a call. Terms and conditions, you don't have to add that in there. I just had a habit of doing that. But, you could have one conversation starter, book a call with Wendy. So within your book agent, you can add this button in. So whenever they start a new conversation, they see this button, which they don't see in your book, which is great. Which is a nice little add-on. Your book agent, ultimately, when you create it, can pay for itself. So there are 3 ways that I see this working. I actually like the second one, but the first one is what everybody does. So think of it as a bundle, your book and the agent. So Bernie did hers was quite a low price. It was £25, so they get access to the book and the agent. I don't know if it's still that price. It was that price when she launched it. She might have increased it. So lifetime access to the agent and the book. Perfect. She's really happy with that. Sarah does hers for £97 for lifetime access for the book and for the agent. So you have the book and you have the agent. They get access to both of them. But I'll go into this a little bit later on. Whenever with these agents, with book companion agents, you need to give people a contract. So you don't want to seed it into the book and give them the link to the agent. You want to say, go to this page, but create a landing page for it where people can buy in and use it, can buy in, and then you send them the contract. And I'll go into a little bit more detail why that is so important. especially around these books. It may not be so important with other agents that you're creating, although I would always like to see a contract with them, because with AI it can be a little bit, you just need to protect yourself. You don't know how people are going to use the AI and how it would come back to you. If they were doing a program and course with you, you would have a contract. It's the same thing. I see it as the same thing. So that's the first way. The second way is that you run a short group program. So you can have 3 offers, and this works really well as well. You can have 3 offers. Offer 1 is the book and the agent, which is what we were talking about a second ago. They can just access that. It's a good way to market it. You can do the book, the agent, and the live group program. Middle tier would work well. So basically what you would be doing is you would be taking them through a chapter of your book at a time, or a couple of chapters for your book at a time. So they have the agent, they have you, they have the program, they have the book. Really great way to do it. And the third option is that you give them access to the book, the agent, the program, and one-to-one support. You know, a typical model. Just a typical model. The difference is here that you're giving them an agent that you can, that they can interact with during the week, that they can have ongoing conversations with. So one of the agents I created for a client, actually, it was one of the first ones I created for a client, was that she has a certification program. She has an Oracle card deck, the Akashic Records Oracle card deck, and she wanted to increase the engagement with people in the certification program. So she wanted to encourage them to pull a card every day. And it wasn't sticky enough, so people weren't pulling the card once a day. They got a bit lazy. But when she introduced an agent, we trained the agent based on her whole methodology, how she wanted the agent to engage. People were engaging more, which means at the end, her certification program, the people qualifying will increase, which was really important to her, like most of us it would be. So it increased engagement that way. So the book engagement is that sweet spot in between, not just reading the chapter, but asking questions, having conversations, going deeper, learning more, setting it in context to what it is that they're experiencing, not just what the book is saying. Really, really cool. And of course, this is also classic as well, is that if you are running some sort of program, and only do this if it has context, if it is relevant. Don't add it in. Don't add a bonus in if you're just giving it for the sake of giving it to put the price up. Don't bother. People are not interested. Only give the agent and the book if it's relevant to the program that they're doing. But you can add this in as an extra bonus, as an extra bundle into the program it is that you're doing. So the agent will pay for itself. And ultimately, with the way things are going, I truly believe that coaching, consultation, maybe not so much therapy, because that's slightly. I do have clients who are therapists who are using AI now within their business. So I'm thinking more of not therapists. I'm talking rubbish, just ignore me. Yeah, they will. I'm thinking more of massage. I don't know why massage came into my head, which is not who I'd be creating agents for anyway. Unless someone was doing the training course, so then they would. But I think if you have your own IP, your own theoretical framework, then I think everybody at some point will start integrating AI into their programs, because it's just so helpful. It gives the learner a completely different experience, which is ultimately what you want. So why I don't teach this, and why actually you shouldn't do it yourself, because there are 8 headings, 8 steps that I go through, but within each one of these steps, there's like 4 or 5 layers. So we looked at, actually, did we look at? So for example, number 4, ethical intelligence and safety layers. It's not straightforward. And I touched on it a bit earlier on as well, because this is my favorite one, because I think this is the most important. Out of all of them, it's the most important because it's about creating safety for the reader and safety for you. So within that little section, we've got bias awareness, we've got trauma sensitivity, we've got copyright, safe story, support mode flow. These are complicated things to teach. Complicated things to teach. So you shouldn't be learning these things, because these are for people like myself who have been in the AI space and know how to use and to create AI ethically, morally, ethically, so it protects both the user and the person who has created the agent. It's not as simple as people are making it out to be, that you can just dump your book in it and then it's going to be great. It's not. There's a deep methodology that goes behind creating any agent, actually. But the book companion ones are more specialized because they have to hold the story and they have to hold people's emotions, which people aren't used to creating agents that are in the realm of this level of transformation, going this deep. They're more service level. So building a safe, ethical agent takes deep expertise. Most people underestimate the risks. The real value comes from your unique voice, story, and method, not the generic templates. So I work one-to-one with clients to protect their IP, ensure emotional safety, and create agents that truly reflect them. There's a skill to that. I touched on this a bit earlier on, you absolutely need a contract. If you've written your book, you know the nuance of what's in it. You know how sensitive some of the subjects are. You know that because we're working in personal development, we are challenging people, holding people accountable, asking them to change, asking them to see things differently. That brings risks. If you were doing it one-to-one in your business, as I said, you would have a contract. You wouldn't even think twice about it. You would just I send it out automatically, fill it in, send it out automatically. Someone signs it and it comes back to me. So if you don't have a contract, you are leading yourself vulnerable. So I always recommend that you have a contract. So my contract actually for using my agents is 15 pages long, not an exaggeration. People sign it and then they can use them. I'm happy, they're happy. And also I think it says to them that you've actually given it some thought. You've actually thought about the integrity of what it is that you're doing. You're not giving something out willy-nilly. So some of the pitfalls without a contract: no control how the agent is used, risk of an ethical or careless application, vulnerable readers may spiral without safeguard. That's a really big one. Your IP can be copied or misused. Others could make false claims in your name. Quite big risks, I think. If you have a contract and it's a really good contract, you can make the boundaries really, really clear, and you can make sure that the responsibility lies with the person using it. You can be clear on the ethical use and how that can be enforced. You can built in protocols for vulnerable users, so they know that they need to take personal responsibility for looking after their own mental health and well-being. Your IP stays safe and respected, and also it protects your reputation and your business integrity, which for me is a really big one. Remember what I was saying about trust being one of the number one indicators why people buy? A contract, I think, reinforces that. Now, this is something really special and something very unique to ChatGPT. The other platforms don't do it that I am aware of. The last time I looked, they don't do it. and I'll show you this in a second because it may not make actually any sense. So I'll give you a demonstration of how it works. You can use your book companion agent to pull into a conversation that you're having with inside a ChatGPT, and you can ask the agent to read the conversation above and then ask the book to give an opinion, the agent to give an opinion on what it's read in context to the book. It's just mind-blowing. I'll have to give you a demonstration because I'm sure that probably actually doesn't make much sense, but it is incredibly, incredibly powerful for you as the author, because it means you can actually go back and use your book and bring it into other things and see what's going on within your own methodology, your own head, your own mindset for your own personal development. But for your clients, it just gives them access to a new way of learning and insight that they haven't had access to before. And I would be surprised actually, unless they're taught that that is possible and that they can do it, they probably won't know how to do it. It's just because I'm slightly obsessed about AI that it's something that I do consistently, pretty much a couple of times a day. So something also to consider when you create a book agent is that, and I think I touched on this a bit earlier on, is that marketing, articles, newsletters, social media, workbooks, it's just endless. You can create unlimited marketing, unlimited resources from that one book once it's set up properly. So when my clients create a book with me, they get access to additional agents that they can then use to do their marketing and do the other things that they need to do to help market the book. So let me just pop across to ChatGPT a second. Hang on. No. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll do it this way. Okay. So, oh. Oh, I thought I shrunk. What's going on? How do I get off my slides? Oh, God. Right. Got there in the end. Blimey, that was a bit of a palaver. Hopefully you can see. Can you see ChatGPT? Yep. Cool. Oh, wrong thing. Oh, hang on a minute. This isn't going to plan. Hang on. Just stop. And then let me share it again because I wasn't sure it went onto the right one. Right, ChatGPT. Okay, cool. Right, okay. So when you create an agent or a GPT, it sits in the left-hand corner here on the left-hand side. And here, there's a little button that you add it to the sidebar or take it off the sidebar. So you've always got the ones that you want to, the ones that you're frequently using, you'll just keep on the left-hand side of ChatGPT. So as you can see, I have a lot. So let me, here we go. Okay. So this is Sarah's book that I've created to her. I was testing it on my own system. So when I create a book agent for someone, it doesn't normally sit on my system. It will sit on the client's system. It's just because of the sensitive nature of this book, I wanted to check it out on my system first before I actually passed it over to Sarah for her to use. So people get access to a link. They can access the agent and then they can just start asking questions. Let me just copy this question. So they'll click the agent, which sits in the left-hand side. And then this is the one that I set up for Sarah. So if I just say what chapters are in the book, it's going to give me a list. It's going to give me a list of the different chapters that are in the book, word for word. I'm just doing this as a demonstration. So if I let me think of a question. I can't spell, but thank God AI is great. So I've just said, does the book talk about emotional collapse? And it's telling me chapter 1, Sarah describes a moment in the book. Now, what I can do is I can read this and then I can think about my own personal experience. It's hard to think of questions when you haven't got anything. Okay. I've said emotional collapse, does it mention it in the book? I've got, is it normal? And it's come back with answers. And then, so basically, I'm interacting with Sarah's book, with the context of what's in the book. And Sarah would definitely say this. Yes, love, it's not something that I would say. It's not my tone of voice. But that is definitely how Sarah would speak. So what I can do is, once I've asked this question, I can just continue the conversation I'm having with the book agent. And what it's going to do is it's going to cross-reference what I'm saying consistently with the book. So I can just keep going. From the way Sarah writes, there isn't a set time frame. Collapse isn't linear. Now, this is really helpful for me because this is something that I'm experiencing at the moment. So I'm actually going to use Sarah's book to help me learn more about emotional collapse. So I can just keep sharing more and more about my personal experience, more about my curiosity. And then I can it's another way for me to learn. I haven't read the book, so I haven't got a specific question that I can ask from the book, if that makes sense. Yeah, this is how it works. But something that's even, I think, just as cool as this is that you can bring in, so this is a conversation that I have with one of my agents daily. So I have ongoing conversation. Oh, this is what I want. I have an ongoing conversation with this agent. Right. So what I can do, when you see this little self-love companion and the little logo, that means that this agent has now pulled in the book companion. So I can say, so I've just said, have a look at the above in the chat and tell me the patterns you see. So it's going to read the conversation above, which is quite lengthy. I started it Monday. And then it's going to give me, looking back at your chat and pairing it with the book, I can see some strong patterns emerging. Push, collapse, cycle, hypervigilance, I can't speak, grief versus collapse, mourning, survival. This is just, this, for me, as a learner, wanting to learn about something that I'm going through, and using Sarah's book is just gold dust. I can go through this, I can understand what's happening for me psychologically in the context of her book, which is just absolutely mind blowing. It's just mind blowing. So I can also bring in my own book and I can say, so I'm now getting a perspective of my book, which is it's not a similar story, but I haven't used my book as an example because I didn't set it up with the same framework. So Sarah's works really well. Mine I've got to redo. So it's giving me a different perspective from my book. So it's giving me Sarah's and it's giving me mine. And yeah, see, if you don't create your agent properly, so my book agent was the first one I created, this is what happens. So Sarah's is working perfectly. Because I haven't created mine with the right framework, it stopped me from using it. So I've got to actually recreate mine, which, knowing me, I probably won't do because I'm busy creating everybody else's. Yep, I've got to redo mine, but Sarah's is working beautifully. So, does anyone have any question? I've gone for it's quite mind-blowing. I think it's really the potential for it is just mind-blowing. It's a new way for us to use our books to help people to go deeper, learn more, use the books and the content in a different way. So has anyone got any questions? Penny?
Yes, Wendy. As you know, I've got Ask My Wizard on my book, Manual Magic.
Yeah.
You said that you shouldn't upload your entire book as is. How do you upload yours?
So I have mine in the background in the knowledge base.
Right.
Yeah, so it can pull from the book.
Yes, that's what I've got.
Yeah. So what I mean is just don't like copy and paste all the pages in.
No, gosh, no. I think that would take me a month of Sundays with 300 pages.
Yeah.
Now, mine has no emotional content, but it's how to. So mine's structured in that you can ask it anything at all about creating an operations manual.
Brilliant.
And it will give the answer. Would you still have a contract on that?
I would. You
would, right. Great.
Yeah, I would, because I think if you're, it's saying how you should be bringing your business together, and it's consultation. Yeah, I mean, I would personally.
Did you have yours drawn up by a lawyer?
Yeah, so I created it initially and then got someone to check it.
Right, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I just think cover yourself, because you just don't know.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Valerie?
Hi, Wendy. Again, it was just the demonstration that you just did. I thought it was brilliant because when you got down to your part, the ethical human bit came in.
Yeah.
So you've demonstrated it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
and
it
I
was
think
brilliant. They wanted to stop you from going any further for your own safety, and looking after yourself until you
oh
let it
yeah,
take you a bit
that's
further.
yeah. Well, no, what's happened there, Valerie, is I've created Sarah's on the framework that I've developed, and my book wasn't created on that framework. So because it's not created on a framework, it won't allow me to use it properly. So I'm going to actually have to delete that one, and then I'm going to have to create it on my own framework and redo it, and then I'll be able to. Then people will be able to use it properly. It just shows that if you do not have a framework and you haven't set it up properly, it's not going to work
Mm.
because the conversation is too sensitive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any other questions, Sue?
What would happen if somebody asked a question about something that wasn't actually in the book? So, and it might be, it might be something quite significant or quite emotional, and they might ask a question about it, but it's not actually something covered in the book. How would the GPT respond to that?
It would probably say that it's not in the book, but a bit more diplomatically. Not
So,
like it's
yeah,
not in
so
the book. Yeah,
so it would just be like a bit of a stop. That's what I was wondering, whether
yeah,
it would
yeah, yeah. It's
offer any
created
support or.
to yeah, it's created within the confines of the book, of the content within inside the book. So when we set it up, we tick off, we make sure that we haven't got any of the ticks inside the back of the system. So it can't pull information in from the website. It should stay within the context of the book.
Right, yeah, that's what I wondered. So would that be potentially a situation where you might ask programmers or whatever the word is to ask for a call if the person, in case it was a sensitive
Yeah.
thing and the person obviously wanted to help with it?
So within ChatGPT, you have, one of the things that I say to clients is you have to give a list of like not CAB, Samaritans. If it's something psychologically, you want to. We took a list inside Samaritans, go to the hospital, speak to your doctor. That's just automatically put in there as a safety thing anyway. Because people can spiral. I mean, we try to make them as safe as possible, but people, you just don't know you don't know what people are experiencing. So people can spiral. So if they start spiraling, it will say, here's a number. Go in or reach out to your doctor, hospital. So that has to be built in there. Otherwise, it's one of the things that we have to put in. Otherwise, I think that it wouldn't wouldn't work properly.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just, yeah, good to clarify that.
Yeah. Anyone else got a question? We all good? Anyone thinking of creating an agent, a book agent? Yeah, Valerie. Yeah. Sue.
I'm thinking also, Wendy,
Yeah.
you were talking about I do a book, and the book is the program as well, and involves some. At the moment, it involves some input from me while people are going through the journey, and I'm just blown away actually, seeing how this could add value
Yeah,
to
I mean,
what is already happening.
yeah, that's great.
So, perhaps we can have a conversation afterwards, and
Yeah.
I'll go
Send
and
you a
have a look
link.
at the link. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all on there. Yeah, the potential is just what I love about it is it levels the playing field. If you've got don't know what you call it these days. I was always told I had a special need. And before that, I was remedial. So I don't know which is the better option. But, for someone like me, it like levels the playing field. I can ask questions, I can understand, whereas I might read something and then I just don't get it. And then I've just given up. So I love it because it levels the playing field.
Wendy, it's just been
Yes.
incredible. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed listening to you. And yeah, it is mind-boggling. The potential that's there is just incredible. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. So if no one else has got any questions, I will send the replay out so you can go back through and see if you've missed anything. But if you've got any questions, just reach out.
Thanks, Wendy. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much, Wendy.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sue. Thanks for having, thanks for
Thanks,
having me,
everybody.
Sue.
No,
Thanks, Sue.
no, really appreciate it, Wendy. It's an amazing step forward, I think, for authors. So really appreciate it, and obviously wanted it to come from you because I know how ethical you are in your work as well. So really appreciate it.
that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Take care, everyone.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Wendy and
Bye.
Sue.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.